What's up, everybody? Another wonderful Monday night of Chewin the BBQ Fat. Man, I'm very excited about tonight. This is something that I've been looking forward to, a conversation that we've been looking forward to having for quite some time now. Very exciting for our guest coming on tonight. Hope everybody had a wonderful Labor Day. Hope you cooked something. Hope you were able to go out there and practice if you needed to practice, and recover if you needed to recover from a bunch of barbecue contests this weekend. And whatever you did, I hope you had a great time and you're looking forward to another wonderful week and moving forward. Tell you what, baseball is about to get hot and heavy for us again. Can't wait. I know Emily, her son plays baseball also. We have the same age kid in travel ball. It's a lot of fun. Looking forward to talking a little bit about that with her too. But man, I'm just so excited about where barbecue is right now. I feel like we're in a good spot, making strides and doing great things. Some big contests this weekend up in, I think, New York and Omaha, Nebraska, and different places like that. So very exciting to see how the points shake out. I don't know if they've been able to update the points at all yet this week, but hopefully they will soon. Real quick, before we get going, I got a little bit of stuff that we got to get taken care of. What's up, James? How you doing, man? Thank you for coming on all the way from Australia. Awesome. Jacob, how you doing? Brent, how are you? We still have time. You still have time to get your order in and free shipping today. L Day 22 is the discount code. Get your orders in and get free shipping. Everybody loves free shipping. There you go. The barbecue contest, Land Barbecue Store Classic, is coming up. It's not full, but we're getting a lot of teams. If you know anybody that wants to vend, that's also an option. And then there's a bunch of products on sale this week. So y'all go in there and try out some of the sale products and get it shipped free while you can. It's going to be a great time. What's up, Optimus Swine? How you doing, bud? Good job out there cooking. You're killing it. And love to see all y'all coming on. Like the page, share the page, get it out there to as many people as we can. But let's get started. Y'all don't want to hear me talk anymore. Let's get Emily on here because that's why everybody's here tonight. So, Emily, how you doing?
Hey, Brian, I am doing great. I'm doing great. It's just so fun to be able to still connect and talk a little barbecue.
That's awesome. Everybody that I've talked to, I've told them that you're coming on tonight. They're like, man, she did such an awesome job. We really appreciate what she went through. She guided us through some of the hardest times ever with COVID and everything else. You've done a wonderful job. You've always been a friend to us at Chewin the BBQ Fat, and thank you so much for all you've always done. But give everybody an update on what's going on.
Yeah, well, so I've, it's been 6 weeks now since I've been out of KCBS, and in my new role, I literally dove right in. My last day was on a Friday with KCBS, and I started on Monday, so I did not take any time off, but that's okay. So I moved to a company that's still based in Kansas City. It's called Associated Wholesale Grocers, and essentially it's a grocery store co-op. So all of these independent grocery store owners from all over, particularly the Midwest, a little bit of the Southeast as well, and actually moving up into parts of the Mid-Atlantic. All of these grocery store owners, they might have one store, they might have 20 stores, they might have some of the bigger chains might have like 50 stores, but they consolidate their buying through being part of this co-op. And so we have over 3,300 independent retail stores that we help support. And my role that I've taken on there, it's called Executive Director of Category Management Execution. So I am working with all of the category merchants. So first stop, of course, I had to go introduce myself to the guy that's in charge of all of the charcoal and barbecue sauce. And so, that was really fun. But anyway, so I work with all of those category managers that manage each of those categories. I'll be helping them set their strategies, and then likewise leading the team that helps with mapping out exactly where every product goes on the shelf to help drive the most sales and revenue for those grocery stores. And then likewise, I'll lead the team that then goes into the stores and helps reset it to the planogram. If you've ever heard of those, or the fanciest word is planogram, but basically it's creating a map of where the products should go on store. And then there's a whole retail team that goes into all of these stores across the country to set those shelves. So I lead that team. And I think it's going to be really fun because I've worked in the food business basically my entire career in some form or fashion, but I haven't really done this specifically. So this is going to be a great way of kind of rounding out my experience. And literally part of what my team does as well is make sure that all of the images are, every product needs to be photographed, measured, et cetera, to go into these planograms. And so the other day I had some head country sauce come across my desk and I got really excited because it obviously made me think of my friends at Old World Spices and CR Head. And it was just fun to kind of see both of my worlds blending together again for a little bit. So.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Is there any way, like, is there any intermingling between all this? Are you able to bring in new products, or do you just have the products and you show the products off?
Well, so as part of the overall category strategies, that's one of the best times to have new products brought in. And so the other interesting thing that adds quite a bit of complexity is that there are 9 different divisions. So, we have a warehouse in the Gulf Coast. We've got one in Memphis, one in Nashville. We've got Kenosha, Wisconsin, Norfolk, Nebraska, Kansas City, obviously, Springfield, Oklahoma City. St. Cloud, Minnesota, that one's about to come online. So each division might also have some of their own separate products. So yes, there's opportunity for new products to come on board. There's also kind of a specialty distributor right now called Value Merchandisers, VMC. And that is an opportunity for all of the stores to order some of the items that, might be super popular in a certain place, but don't necessarily have the same volume as, say,
Right.
I know it's, God forbid I say it, but like a Casey masterpiece, it just sells, right?
Right.
But something that we know in the competition barbecue space might make sense more in that VMC warehouse, for example. So I will see some of our products for sure that I've become accustomed to seeing, and certainly I can advocate for those as well when opportunities arise. So
That's what's so cool about barbecue is you
yeah,
never know where your connections are going to lead you, where they're going to take, what all they're going to do, and it's always good to know people.
yeah. And actually, one of the very first people that I met is a lady, and she used to cook. It's been a few years, but she used to do competition barbecue with her husband. Ironically, she's very fit, and she's a registered dietitian. And so she helps write a lot of recipes and does some other things for the company as well. But we bonded over barbecue immediately.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so let's back up. I'm so grateful for you with what you've been able to do. Moving forward, it sounds like it's a great opportunity. You're going to be doing wonderful things,
Yeah. Thanks.
and I'm very excited for you. And congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So let's go back a little bit and talk about your time as the KCBS CEO and what all that was like, and how did that prepare you to grow in some of your other moving forward in your career?
Yeah. Well, that's a big question. So I think
Yeah,
I'll
let's break
probably,
that
I'm
down.
going to break it down a little bit. So I would say that, obviously I loved what I did during my time at KCBS. And I genuinely hope that shows in all of the work that I put in and worked with the various groups, to do. So in terms of, how it really prepared me for what I'm doing now, I would say that interestingly, when I met with the company that I work for now, it wasn't even so much any specific area. It was really kind of a combination of all of the things that I've done coming together. And one of the things you'll appreciate is they asked me, they said, would you consider yourself a strong utility player? And, being able to pick up any position on the field, essentially. And I said, absolutely, that's what I would consider myself. Because when I came into KCBS, for example, there was no playbook. I mean, there was nothing that said, this is how you do it. This is what needs to be done. I just got in there, rolled up my sleeves and figured it out. And then certainly when we got, hit with COVID, there was definitely no playbook for that. And so, trying to work with the board, work with the reps and figure out what we could do, knowing that it was absolutely still in the best interest of the organization to move forward and have events, we needed to figure out how we could do that safely. And that was definitely, nobody telling you what to do, and then trying to do all the research on what type of aid we could potentially apply for. And that was not easy either, because with the type of 501c4 that the organization is, we weren't eligible for a lot of the same, the PPP money. So we had to find other ways of getting creative. So anyway, it was just, that was certainly an interesting time. And then, to be honest with you, I don't really want to talk about it too much, but going through everything that I went through to help defend the organization from the lawsuit that we were faced with, I will tell you, as unpleasant as that whole situation was, it taught me a lot. And personally, from my leadership, I learned a lot, and I grew in ways that I hoped never to have to do again. But,
Right.
Anyway, but I think in general, a lot of what I was able to do at KCBS, and really help the organization through some very difficult times. And we tried to, at least I tried to, always put on a positive face, right? For the staff, for the board, for all of the members, because there's so much good about KCBS, about barbecue. And so it was like, if we could get through these tough times, the organization itself, I think, is going to do very well. And so, and even when I decided it was my time to move on, I worked until the very end. I mean, I was one of the last people there on the Friday I left, because I do genuinely care about the organization, and I'm still a lifetime member, and I'm still going to participate, so anyway, that was a very, very loaded question, but I hope that answers it for you.
Yeah, and I should have broken that down in a couple of questions, but that's amazing. Everything was rocking and rolling, going really well when you first started, and it was like, man, we're about to take off, and then bam, here comes COVID. And I will say this, as a member, as somebody that cooks and as a part of KCBS, well, I'm not part of, but as a member and compete in KCBS, I am very thankful and grateful that you had, with your knowledge and leadership in the corporate world and everything else, that you were able to come in and be able to navigate us through that, because those are some terrible times that we had to go through. And the way that it was managed was, there was no winning in that, right? It was like, how can we just manage it and make it through? How can we survive? And personally, I feel like, and I'm, by no means am I in the barbecue world like, we're a store. We do have our fingers in it and everything. But I feel like we came out of COVID and we have an opportunity now. The groundwork is there for us to take off and really do well. I see Charles is on here, and a lot of the stuff that he's doing, that him and his group are doing, are leading us into a very good situation, and things that are happening are very good. I think the foundation is there, and having Rod on last week, he's just like, man, I'm just going to sit here and let it go. Nothing's wrong. Nothing's bad. I'm going to let it go. And then we'll see how I can make my mark on it. And that, to me, says a lot about you and your team and everything else, of what you were able to accomplish through that. Hearing the current CEO in your position saying, everything is set up for me, and I just need to just go with it and see what happens. Right. So to me, I'm like, that this is great. I've always felt you did a wonderful job, and I wasn't even going to get into all the other part of it, but I'm really excited to hear that you're doing really well. What you did for KCBS has been awesome. Would you change anything?
Well, I think that, and I wish Rod all the best success. I think that there's so much opportunity still to come for the organization. Gosh, in terms of what would I change, I think that I will say, I think just because of the timing of the way things hit, like with COVID and everything, I never really felt like I fully got to do what I would have wanted to do. Right now, within that, there were opportunities that we just absolutely pushed to the brim and took full advantage of, like working with simple alien behind the scenes on trying to help, steer where those Food Network show locations went, and then helping with things we could, in terms of some of the talent needs and stuff like that. So, those types of things are amazing for the sport. I think it's like a rising tide lifts all boats type of a thing. And so obviously it was my goal to try to get them to as many KCBS contests as possible.
Yes.
So hopefully there will be season 2. I don't know yet, but that would be amazing.
That would be.
So I think that those types of things, were excellent. I think, given more time and probably more focus, I think that there could have been some additional programs created in the time that I was there. It just, unfortunately, like I said, with COVID and when it hit during the time that I was there, I think that was tough. So, I still think that there's a lot of opportunity out there. And I would like to see some additional ways of recognizing the people who have, spent so much time creating the program like it is today. Something like a Hall of Fame would be fantastic. So I think there's some additional opportunities like that could be really great opportunities to not only draw attention to the sport, but certainly, there's a lot of additional opportunities for creating the right sponsorships and things like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where do you see your role, if any, in barbecue moving forward?
Oh, for sure. Well, I still am going to come and judge, volunteer, etc. So I will, for example, I'm going to be at the American Royal. I had already promised that I was coming to help. So I'll be in the judging tent Saturday and Sunday, which I'm really excited because, it's fun for me to get to see everybody. I love it. Thursday night, I'll probably swing by after work because my office is close by. So I love to see the whole, getting to see everybody even before they get super crazy and really into the game. And then Friday night at the American Royal is obviously such a big party, but I don't think I'll be there. I don't think I'll be there for that part of it this year. But I do plan to bring my kids out at some point because they obviously love to see all of their barbecue friends too. So yeah, I'll still be involved. There's no doubt about that. And I will say it'll be fun to do it kind of on my own terms and not have to be awaiting the phone calls on Saturday afternoon as I'm sitting at baseball games, watching my son play.
Right.
So that part I won't necessarily miss. But
yeah, I'm sure. So now you have your weekends free. You can get back involved in baseball. Your son plays travel baseball also.
Yeah.
So we have that in common to where it's like, oh my gosh, how can we do it all?
Yeah.
But
well, and next year we're going to Cooperstown. So
yes, we are. Yeah, we're going to head up to Cooperstown. It's going to be
you
a lot
are
of fun.
too?
Yeah, we'll be up there. I don't know the weekend we're going yet.
Okay, well, we're July 21st through the 27th. So you'll have to look to see if that's when you guys are going.
Go. Yeah, they haven't told us. They haven't told us yet when we're headed out there. So Cooperstown's at 12U and travel baseball. Everybody, 12U is the year that you get to go to Cooperstown, and it's an absolute incredible experience for the kids. So in travel baseball, it's like going to the American Royal, right?
Yes.
So it is the thing to do.
Yes. Well, and to me, one other fun little juxtaposition is that there's all this pin trading. So we'll create pins for our team and trade with all of the other teams that we play and everything. And to me, that part will remind me a little bit of barbecue because obviously the pins at every contest are such a big deal, especially for the judges. Right. So I think that's going to be fun.
I'm looking forward to it. Baseball's already starting back up. We have our first tournament coming up this weekend, and here we go. We had a 2-month break, and now we're right back at it.
Yes.
I'm hoping to be able to go cook some barbecue in 2 weeks. I'm hoping to be able to cook a contest, and then before we go out to the Royal and cook again. But hey, whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So what is the best memory you have with being on the board of KCBS?
Oh my gosh. There are a couple that just touch my heart so much. And I think the first one I would say is the American Royal, actually, 2019. So I had just come on board that August. And, I've always loved the American Royal because even before KCBS, I was very involved with it from my Smithfield days and sponsorship and parties and, all kinds of things. But to stand there in the judging garage and have 600 KCBS judges stand up, and I got to stand there with Artie and do the oath. I mean, that was, to me, it was just like, wow. It was such a great feeling. And then the fact that there was a small gathering, on the Thursday night to welcome me, that was Jeff Staney and Sterling Ball hosted that. And it was just, it was awesome. And to see everybody come and welcome me in my new role, that was probably my favorite experience, just because it was so much fun and really showed the positive energy of everybody coming together. So I think that I would say that was definitely probably my first favorite experience. And then every World Invitational since then, the KCBS World Invitationals, it was really fun in Topeka, Kansas. It was awesome down in Oklahoma. I think this year is going to be amazing as well. So, those are some fun experiences too, and really things that I will never forget.
Yeah. I mean, I remember I was at the Royal, that was my first experience at the Royal, and you had just come on board, and I was like, man, this is crazy. This is amazing. This whole experience and everything. Cause I'm like, being from Georgia, we don't have anything like that. Our biggest contest is 80 something, 100 people, 100 teams. And then to go out there and see that, it was just like, man, this is incredible. But what a great time. And like I said, all the wonderful things that have happened. Now you said you are a judge, so you will go back and do some judging.
Yeah.
And you're in the Kansas City area, so you have a 3 or 4 contests every weekend, I feel like, to choose from where you get to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it was funny because I was also up in Omaha this weekend. I did not have a chance to judge at Septemberfest because I had promised my kids I would take them to the zoo, the Omaha Zoo. So we were really close by, but if it wasn't on Sunday, I would have offered to come over and judge. But anyway, but no, I still stand by and can help out at a moment's notice. So likewise, I'm not that far from the office either. So if they ever need me for something, I'm always willing to come help. So
that's awesome. So I don't know if I asked this one or not, but what do you think is going to be the one thing that you miss the most about being so involved in barbecue?
Oh, the one thing, I don't know.
Or what are some things that you think you'll miss?
I genuinely enjoy cheering for everyone. I love, watching the points chase, seeing how that plays out. I really do honestly enjoy being in the judging tent. Any opportunity I've had to go and help, whether, actually sit down and judge if needed, or when I was working, I would go and help out. And I didn't want to take a seat for judging if somebody had an opportunity to judge, but I was always willing to jump right in if somebody canceled. So I definitely will miss that. Believe it or not, I also love doing media things. And so that is something that I think I truly will miss. So, I think I'll have opportunity to do some of that in my new role too, but probably not like this. So
I do. I mean, that's something that is very much overlooked, is the presence that you had in the media world and what you were able to do in the media, because that's a big deal. It's not easy for everybody to get in there and make it look so easy and smooth and promote the way that you have been able to do. And it's so cool to hear what you had to do with the Barbecue USA. And that hopefully, like everybody will always say this, hopefully this is another thing that can show off our sport and get more people interested. I hope that happens. I did hear that they're looking for season 2 people and stuff like that. So
excellent. That's excellent.
Maybe it'll come through. It sounds like you might know more about it than you're leading on to, but hey, whatever.
I really do hope. And, it's fun because one of the things that I learned in that whole process is that so much of the timing just depends upon their shooting availability and also literally their host. I mean, Chef Michael Simon, about his availability. And so when we were helping give them recommendations for which contest to go to, we were trying to help provide them a variety of contests across the country so that they could showcase different regions, different organizers, different teams, and then but it had to be within a certain window,
Right.
So we literally were looking at like, okay, here are the contests within the various states based on what weeks you have available.
Right.
And obviously I pushed as hard as I could for all the things that I thought would be fantastic for them to see, and then it's out of our hands.
Right.
And likewise, anytime I had the opportunity to talk about teams, I certainly would, and provide, any of the data about where they might have been in different team of the year points chases, not just for this year, but years past, if they'd won big contests or things like that, because those aren't necessarily things that a TV producer is going to be able to tease out on their own, so anything that we could do to help drive excitement for that was certainly, trust me, I was working hard behind the scenes. So I'm not saying that I got to decide who anybody was, but I at least was able to provide some key data that I thought would be helpful for them as they made their decisions. So
yeah, I mean, that's what it's so neat to see everything going in behind the scenes. And, we have this small world where we know about everybody in our competition barbecue family, right? We know everything, who's good, who's whatever. Most people don't, right? Like outside of competition barbecue, they don't know who some of these people are, right? And like to us, it's like, man, how do you not know that Brad is like winning everything he cooks all the time these days? But to show it is like, man, this is pretty cool. It gives us out there, it gives everybody out there an opportunity in our little circle or world, whatever, showcases it, and it's pretty awesome. Wow, we got somebody from Western Australia. What's up, Bruce? How you doing? Okay, so let's ask about that now that we've got some international people on there. How much has KCBS grown internationally in the past couple of years?
That's a tough question to answer as well, because it grew and then it contracted a little bit because of COVID. And rightfully so. I get it. People weren't necessarily able to get out and have contests or whether they were cooking or judging. And so some people let their memberships lapse. I actually think that the J Cup was a big positive thing, even more so for international players, because they could reinstate their judging by taking the J Cup and getting back up to speed quickly when contests came back. The thing that I would say about international is that it's almost like the love and the passion that they have is somewhat similar to how KCBS was, 10 years ago or so here in the US. And so, or just like, the backyard, as they continue to show excitement and things like that. I say that because even though like contests are smaller, internationally, their passion that they have is so strong. They're so excited to be involved. They really want to emulate exactly what's happening in the US. And so I think that that's really exciting, and it's been fun. It's been fun to see. It is more challenging just because you think about when you're going to a contest, yes, you might have to cross state lines. In these situations, they are literally, going from country to country, especially in Europe. And so that does bring some of its own challenges, and even on the judging side as well. So, they have to plan so much further out and purchase airfare sometimes and things like that. And, so there are more challenges, that's for sure. But the people that are involved are very excited to be involved. And so I know that, there's so much excitement around the Jack and the Royal this year for being able to be included. I have not had a chance to see. So, I left right before the team registrations for the World Invitational started opening up. So I don't know what the current counts are there, but I'm hopeful that there would be more international teams coming to that as well this year, just because they can, and they can fly into Atlanta, and it's about a 2-hour drive. So that's, trying to get into the US. I think this will be a good location for that purpose.
Yeah, exactly. And then they can stay there and come over to our contest the next weekend. Just across the street, across the state line and come cook our contest.
Exactly. Yes, indeed.
Um,
Love it.
that is so cool, though. I'm glad to see that international is growing, and we don't get to see it as much because it's not here.
Right.
But like with Southern Dutch coming out there and being in the top 10,
Mm-hmm.
watch everything, So there is that eye of like, oh, who is this? What's going on over there? And so to me, it's kind of cool, and I'd love to be able to talk to some of those international people sometime and get their take on what's going on.
Yeah.
So I have a question for somebody like me, and there's podcast, Facebook Live stuff popping up all the time. What do you think I can do or we can do as podcasts to help grow the sport of barbecue?
Well, I think that the first thing that I would say is to really focus on the positive. I think that sometimes, depending on the show, not yours, of course, but sometimes, people love to go down these spirals that sometimes are not like people don't want the dirty laundry aired, especially if it's something like if you're really seeking sponsorship and trying to partner with various companies, have a positive attitude. I mean, yes, do things go wrong? Of course they do. But it's fine to have a little bit of banter back and forth. That's always fun. But I just feel like sometimes, unfortunately, barbecue can go down like you're at the beauty salon or something. And unfortunately,
There's a lot of drama in barbecue.
yeah, there's a lot of drama and there doesn't need to be, right? So I think that would be my first thing is keep it fun, keep it positive. But also just trying to get new people involved. I think that's such an important thing. And so whether that is bringing a younger team with you to an event or something like that, I think back in the day of, even like with Tuffy Stone in when he was competing a lot, he would be one of the first people to offer help, or if you forgot something, he'd offer, whatever. So I just think that those types of things make a big difference, in trying to get new people involved, because quite frankly, we need new people involved in the sport. Obviously, yes, we've got teams that compete multiple times a year, and that's really important to make sure we keep them engaged. But we also need to have new people coming in, and that doesn't necessarily have to mean younger people, but we need new, fresh blood, constantly fresh blood, whether on the cooking side or the judging side. And so that would be something that I would suggest as well, is how do you encourage other people to come out and give it a try? And that's one of the reasons that I think the opportunity for the one meat contests are still, that to me is such an untapped opportunity. I know it kind of became a little bit more of a focus for people that were truly chasing points, but to have more of those that are really living into the original intent of them, of, letting the public come out essentially and cook against the big guys for one category. I just think that that's such a huge opportunity.
And that's something that we're doing in ours, and we're trying to push it as, hey, come cook against the pros, right? Like get that out to the community. Hey, this is available, And now as an organizer, it's a little different because you have to have space for them
right
coming in as just a Friday night cook, and it's almost like having a steak event come in, right? Like somebody can come in, cook a steak, and leave. So you have to have that mindset of like, we might be getting some teams that are coming in just to cook this one meat, and they're going to be leaving. So it does kind of add a different take on everything as the organizer side of things. But that's how to me, I say it's up to the organizer. Like, have things that we can do to bring in the public, have things to do to bring in the new cook, make it easy for a new cook to come in and do whatever. We're blessed to be able to sponsor teams, right? So I asked all of our team, hey, do whatever you can to help the new guys. Do what you can to like lift them up and help, and it always helps them in the long run, right? Like
that's right.
You see how it plays out with that relationship, and it just grows and grows and grows. But I think you're seeing more of that. I do believe the new people that are coming in are not nearly as secretive as it was in the beginning. People are willing to help. People are willing to do a lot of different things. but we just have to get it. We just have to get the word out there of what we do, right?
Yeah.
And hopefully this barbecue show will do well. For maybe they'll do a bunch of reruns.
Yes.
Barbecue Pitmasters is still on nonstop. I think I'll watch it again this afternoon.
Oh, I know. I love watching it. I love looking back and seeing, what some of the guys used to look like. It's like, oh, now we've got a little bit more gray hair. It's all right.
Changed a
They're
little
still
bit.
cooking, having fun.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
Derek Johnson, one of my buddies at his first contest, he showed up in the backyard. He cooked right beside us, and he came and he didn't, he was brand new and he was making up his sauces and trimming at the last minute. I was like, hey, try this stuff, try that. You remember, because you've got to understand, we're cooking to KCBS judges. We're not cooking to your neighborhood, right? So that
Right.
mustard sauce that everybody loves in your neighborhood is most likely going to get hammered here.
Yeah.
So let's try this. And he ended up getting reserved, but it was awesome.
Hey, nice.
Yeah. So I mean, now he's cooking pro, and now he's actually organizing a contest. Derek Johnson, Smoke Timber Fest, I think is the name of it.
Okay.
In
Awesome.
Baxley, Georgia. So it's just you never know what's going to happen. You never know who you help, what they're going to do, what they're going to become, how they in turn can help you in the future, right? So I mean,
That's right.
just continue to give back as much as you can.
Yeah. Well, and you hit on a good point. I think we also need to find more ways of getting more people to want to organize a contest. It is not easy. It is not easy. And, even from my days at Smithfield, I put on a couple of contests and had great partners to help do that. But it's a lot of work, but it's also really meaningful. And so I think that's another great way too of having some mentoring happening, right? If you know of somebody who's potentially interested in organizing, or likewise, if you've got a contest who the person that's been doing it forever is getting like they're tired of doing it, trying to find somebody to help replace them and have a longer term plan is so important. Because sometimes it's just easier for those contests to go away than it is, to bring somebody on. So the more advanced planning and people you can have to help kind of train the next generation of organizers, I think that's really important too.
Yeah, because I made that comment last week, and I know James Park, he put a blurb out there when I was talking about it, but the organizers have an opportunity to get the judges, right? Like, go get the J Cup judges, push that, do the different things that you can do as an organizer to make, because I've always said organizers, when a contest does really good, the organizers did a great job. When the contest was bad, everybody wants to blame KCBS, right? Like, for some unknown reason, I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, it's like KCBS has their role in a contest. The organizer utilizes them for their contest, right? Like, they do a great job. KCBS does a great job at what they do. But it's up to the organizer to make everything go.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't like that, that pressure or whatever. They just want to put a contest together, throw a KCBS sticker on it and say, hey, y'all come. And to me, those are the ones that don't last. They're the ones that aren't panning out.
Right.
It's the festivals and everything else that make the contest go. And that's what I liked about Barbecue USA was, as much as they showed the barbecue part of it, they showed the festival, made it out like it's a festival, and it's, hey, this is fun.
Right.
Fun. So, but it's gonna be cool. But anyway, is there anything that you want to say or anything about being part of KCBS or get out there that?
I would always encourage people to get out there and try it again, whether they are interested in trying to cook or if they're interested in judging. The friendships that you build on all sides, really, truthfully, are extremely meaningful. It was really interesting. We had a little small going away reception for me, and my family was able to come, and my husband, who has not been able to come to as many of these events as I would prefer, only because somebody has got to be watching the children. He said to me, he's like, you've got such an eclectic mix of people here that you have made friends with, and from all walks of life, all age groups, and to me, that's one of the coolest things that I love about KCBS, honestly. just the opportunity to meet some really amazing people from all over the world, who come together in a shared interest. And yes, they're interested in barbecue, but it's so much more. It brings people together, you know, and you truly become friends and family because of what started as a love of barbecue. So that's what I would tell people, is just get involved, you know. And likewise, you know, if you've been cooking for a long time and you're maybe starting to feel burned out, maybe now's the time to teach somebody else, right? To help encourage someone else and be a mentor or a coach. Likewise, you know, judging, there's still plenty of opportunities, even if you don't want to judge per se anymore, but you still want to be involved. There's so many volunteer roles that are needed in every judging tent, or for every organizer, to help them make it possible. I mean, you talk about the amount of volunteers needed for the American Royal, and they literally plan almost year round for what it's going to take, not only on the volunteer side, but then also in the judging tent. And there's just so much fun to be had, so many great friendships. And to me, that's the best part of barbecue.
And for me, I always say competition barbecue, and that will include KCBS and all the different sanctioning bodies out there, because it's interesting to see how the different teams they'll cook different sanctioning bodies. They'll cook all the sanctioning bodies, you know.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, it all supports each other, right? Like it all helps each other. When one does well, it's going to help the other, and that, you know, that's why I think it's a barbecue family, right? It's not just KCBS. The barbecue family is just incredible. Great friendships have been made throughout, and it's just really cool.
I totally agree.
I appreciate all that you've been able to do for barbecue and competition barbecue, and I hope that you continue to have some sort of role and do something for barbecue, because I believe that you led us through some tough times, and at the end of it, we can come out and we're still on the launching pad of being able to take off and do great things.
I sure hope so. And hey, now I'm better poised than ever to help drive some of the ideas for these independent grocery chains to have their own little mini one meat contests or series. That's always been something that I thought would be awesome to have, like a little mini contest, you know, in a grocery store's parking lot. What better way of driving people into the stores? And now I will also tell you, go support your independent grocers, because they are the ones who really support their local communities as well. Right. So
that's a big deal. You know, I mean, it is supporting local and supporting all those, and that's what it's all about. That's what we're doing with our contest. We're doing everything we can to raise money to give back to the Feed America, the food shelters in our area, trying to give back and do what we can to do. So But anyway, Emily, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Brian. This is fun, really fun.
I was really hoping to get you on and be able to talk about it. And thank you for all you do. I know for all of our guests, all of our people that watch, whatever I would call them. Thank you so much for coming on and talking and all you've done. And I wish you the best of luck in everything you do. I know you're going to be very successful. I can't wait to hear about it. And, I hope your son has a great baseball season.
And I hope yours does too. It's a tough year, that's for sure. A big year of transition and changes for them. But
it's crazy. You got some 6'2" kids out there and some 4'8" kids out there. It's amazing.
Mine is 5'4", so he's officially 4 inches taller than his mother now. But and he loves to remind me of that every day.
I bet he does. Thank you so much for all you do, and I appreciate it. And I hope you have a wonderful night, everybody.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great night, and we will see you next week on Chewin the BBQ.
All right, thanks, Brian. See you at the Royal.
Sounds good. All right, we'll see you soon.